So, back for another VGC guide, and this time we are looking at Hatterene. I am very pleased that it has lost Expanding Force. Like, just facing Indeedee Hatterene and just having to deal with Follow Me, Trick Room, and then just Expanding Force and Expanding Force, like, it was definitely manageable, but it was just annoying that you had to account for that. And now you don't. It is very nice. But now we have to deal with Armor Rouge instead, so it's basically the same thing. Oh well, Hatterene is still going to be a very usable Pokemon. It's definitely fallen from grace for the fact that it doesn't have Expanding Force, and that you can't just go for G-Max Smite, which was the annoying thing to face, for sure. Just having to deal with double confusion. Like, don't have to deal with that anymore. So, Hatterene probably has to shift a little bit in what it needs to do. It can still definitely do what it was doing previously well, but definitely not as well as it did previously. No Expanding Force, no G-Max, so not as strong. Still reasonable, though. So I reckon that bulking out your Hatterene is probably the way to go at this point. It's reasonable bulk. It's definitely not the worst. Like, that is entirely respectable bulk. But I think it needs to be patched with the Citrus Berry. If it's patched with the Citrus Berry, the bulk becomes actually very impressive. So, yeah, this is able to survive a Gengar Sludge Bomb on the special side, and then it is just dumped into defense. So I don't think you need any more special defense than surviving the Gengar Sludge Bomb. Gholdengo is going to KO you regardless unless you Terror into the fire, which you probably should be fire, because then that's going to be a very good typing to help you take on Gholdengo. Gets rid of your weakness to Steel and your weakness to Ghost, so you're sorted in that regard, and you get Stab on top of the Mystical Fire as well. I think one of the niches of going with the bulky Hatterene would be making use of the Sport. I don't think you need to go fully offensive with this. You should probably have Dazzling Gleam and Mystical Fire, or Psychic and Mystical Fire, either one. Doesn't particularly matter, but as long as you have Mystical Fire, you should probably have that, because then it's supportive as well. Also, it underspeeds Amoonguss by 1. You can't be Spored, so that's really nice because of Magic Bounce. So the point of this, from what I can see, would be to, if you're using Hatterene that is, because you're trying to make use of the niches, would be to underspeed Amoonguss and after you your partner. So this is a Hatterene that can be slapped onto not a hard Trick Room team. It can just be put onto a team, here is a Trick Room option, and now my fast mode is suddenly slow because I'm going for after use. That's how I see this bulky Hatterene fitting onto teams. Where it doesn't have to be, this is a hard Trick Room team, therefore I have a Hatterene that's going to hit hard. This can be slapped onto any team and still be making use of what it needs to do with the partners, even if they are fast partners. So after you would help with that. It doesn't have to be though, you can go with Heal Pulse or Helping Hand, either of those is fine. Definitely have Trick Room. One of those, you should have Stab Attack, Mystical Fire, Trick Room, and other support, in my opinion. Maybe Protect would be fine. Life Dew is a good move. Probably a bit slow on Hatterene, but it's still a good move. So yeah, that would be the point of what I can see with this Hatterene, to have After You and Trick Room so that it can be slapped onto just a general team. Can just go hard Trick Room though. You can definitely still just go hard Trick Room. So this would be just going full offensive. Not quite to the Expanding Force that it had previously, but Life Orb Psychic would hit hard. If you're playing it within DD, then Life Orb Psychic's still going to hit very hard. You want all 3 of the stabs. Well, so yeah, I guess technically the stab because it's Terrifier. You want all 3 of them for sure for the coverage that you get, / the spread that you get with Dazzling Gleam as well. And you do just want Life Orb to maximize your damage output. This is able to survive a Terra Ground, Adamant, Choice Band, Earthquake from a Garchomp. And then the rest is put in special attack that conveniently hits the 11N. That is so that if you go for Follow Me and Trick Room, then you survive that strong spread attack. If you Terror into a Fire against a Gholdengo instead, then you'll survive that spread attack as well. So you'd be able to survive the 2 main spread attacks that could hit you, whether you Terror Fire or not, so that you can guarantee that the Trick Room goes up and get off your attacks. So that's what that tiny bit of investment is for, even though you're Life Orb and chipping away at your HP. So this would be more on a hard Trick Room team. This could be slapped onto a regular team absolutely fine. It's still a perfectly viable Pokemon. You have to wonder, do you use it over Gardevoir? It's bulkier than Gardevoir. It's more offensive than Gardevoir and it's slower, but Gardevoir has a lot more things that it can do as well. So yeah, it's still very good. But I'm very pleased that G-Max Smite is gone. That was horrible to play against.